humanity, it helped communities view our earth, our common home in a very different way. Pele, everybody was all for themselves. And suddenly we realized that we are in it together. We are interconnected. And it is not as tough as it seems. Natural systems have a balance that needs to be maintained. Right? हम लोग समझते हैं कि पानी दरिया और जो हमारा atmosphere है, it's just sewers, it's just gutters. You just want to keep throwing out there और वो नजर नहीं आएगा, out of sight, out of mind. But that doesn't happen. Whatever we put out there comes right back to us. What somebody else puts out there might just come right back to us. So we all have to be responsible for our. Now, the question is, must we change? I mean, ज़रूरत है, really इतना काम हो रहा है, अभी भी कुछ रह गया करने को, ज़रूरी है करना. What do you think? Now think about this question. Must we? Is there anybody with a no? You're allowed to say no. There's no wrong answer as long as you believe in it. Okay, so remember this question and we'll come back to it. A quick follow through with science of global warming. So this is what happens. We receive energy from the sun in the form of light waves. Right? It comes through and it hits the surface of the earth and it heats up the surface, and some of that energy is re-radiated back from the surface is heated, it re-radiates, and as it's passing back towards space, some of that re-radiated energy is absorbed by the atmosphere. And the atmosphere has greenhouse gases, right? And when you think of greenhouse gases, excuse me, this is come off. So when you think of greenhouse gases, it got a negative effect on that, right? So quick question. Are greenhouse gases? Yeah, that's great, exactly. Greenhouse gases are good. You need them. The greenhouse effect is where your atmosphere warms up enough to support life, right? You need it. You need the moisture, you need the temperature. You can't grow anything in freezing cold or if it's burning too much, so you need to regulate it. But if you increase the amount of greenhouse gases, it increases the amount of heat that's trapped. So how do you increase greenhouse gases? You start pumping your atmosphere with pollution, pollutants, I mean heat-trapping pollutants. I'm glad you said that. I want to remove this misconception. CFCs destroy your ozone layer. They do not increase global warming. ये definition याद रखना बेटा. We make this very common mistake that CFCs are heat trapping. CFCs are not heat trapping. CFCs are oxygen trapping gases. वो ozone to gas नहीं बनने देती है, जो हमारे लिए बड़ा ज़रूरी होता है to keep the excess radiation away. So yeah, coming back to this quick point, all of this heat trapping gases, we are just increasing, which means there's an increase in temperature. And what temperature am I talking about? Global or local? Yeah. So अगर एक जगह पे ज़्यादा निकल रही हैं gases, do you think they're going to stay there? So what you're saying is, air and water does not have political boundaries, right? And it will flow all across GWT, right? So you said they have political boundaries, but हवा एक जगह अड़ी तो नहीं रहती. And the water keeps flowing. The issues are political, but the resources themselves have no boundaries. There is one world ocean, you have one atmosphere, you have one big wind pattern that flows everywhere. And that is why you have to be careful of what you're throwing in the air, and it's going to move around. How come? Because the air flows from the mountains to the plains. And if we do not have trees, that's like another science question, completely different. But if you don't have enough trees, there's not enough cooling going on, तो वो हवा जो है वो फंसना शुरू हो जाती है, and it doesn't flow. And when it doesn't flow, it doesn't move away. And you have more factories in Lahore than you have in Kashmir. Do you understand? So it also depends on things that are happening around us. The biggest source of greenhouse gases: agricultural practices, transportation, burning of forests, burning of crops. What else can you? In a secondary way, yeah, deforestation, because we're not being able to take in the carbon that we're putting out. So, but the biggest source of greenhouse gases is burning of fossil fuels. The biggest. अब बाकी जितना मर्जी इसको manage कर लें, you take out fossil fuels and you burn them, and you are contributing to greenhouse gases in many different ways. Okay, now to understand my next point, you have to go through like a quick update on your water cycle, which you already know. What's happening? There is water evaporating because of heat trapped in the atmosphere, which is a good thing, right? And it leads to condensation. Condensation, say, you get precipitation, barish, snow, and that replenishes your rivers, and it keeps the water flowing, and the water hits the ground, and it returns to the sea and the oceans through streams and rivers and deltas, and the cycle starts again. और सबसे ज़्यादा आपकी evaporation होती है on the largest body of water. All your oceans. By the way, if you look at the map, all your oceans are one big ocean. It just doesn't stop. वो political boundaries की वजह से they give it different names. Now we're going to talk about global ocean heat content. Why is it important? Why am I throwing these things for you students? Why am I bringing up these new ideas? Because your ocean body has 90% of all your water. And वो जो मैं बात कर रही थी ना in the beginning, where your atmosphere is absorbing all that re-radiated heat, जो ज़मीन को लगती है heat energy, light energy, and it re-radiates और वो atmosphere आपका गर्म हो रहा है. 90% of that absorbed heat is absorbed by ocean, water, which means your oceans are heating up. They're becoming warmer. So big deal, right? Not so big deal, because that means there's more evaporation. That means there is more precipitation, there's more water in the air. So your rain events, your precipitation events are bigger. Your storms, like your typhoons and your hurricanes and your cyclones, they're uglier and they're badder. I mean, it's something out of the movies. Your movies are coming to life. Now, we understood that जहाँ पे बारिश ज़्यादा हो रही है तो वहाँ पे drought कैसे हो सकता है? How is it possible? The same thing that's creating more rain is creating more drought. Does it? Yeah. That comes later. That comes when the floods happen. पहले होता है evaporation ज़्यादा होती है, बारिश ज़्यादा होती है. But evaporation सिर्फ oceans के ऊपर से नहीं हो रही. Evaporation आपकी soil के ऊपर से भी हो रही है. Soil that is exposed. Ms. Amar was talking about how it's important to have crop cover. And crop cover is important because it protects the moisture loss from soil. अगर आपकी soil में moisture निकल जाएगा, she was talking about how much moisture, is there, और अगर पानी ना भी दे तो plant इतना जो है वो पानी उसमें से निकाल लेता है soil में से. अगर आपकी heat content बढ़ता जाएगा, आपकी evaporation will become stronger. Stronger evaporation means कि आपकी soil dry हो जाएगी. Soil dry होगी तो इसका मतलब है कि drought जो है, जो एक साल के लिए आना था, now happens for longer. It is tougher. your soils degrade more. It's okay. I'm just kidding with you. So, do you understand that concept? So, जहाँ पे बारिश ज़्यादा हो रही है, वहाँ पे drought भी ज़्यादा हो रही है, और जहाँ बारिश होनी चाहिए, वहाँ नहीं हो रही. It's being carried by your winds, and it's happening where rain was not supposed to happen so much. So your soil does not have the capacity to absorb. When it doesn't have the capacity to absorb, what you get is floods. You get flash floods. You get mudslides. और उसके साथ you lose the topsoil cover. When you lose the topsoil cover, you lose the capacity to grow things. Topsoil is like gold. Topsoil के बगैर आप कुछ उगा नहीं सकते. Right? You need that special layer of 5 feet of topsoil everywhere. Last year, record monsoon rains in Pakistan. इतना भी हुआ नहीं है. We were facing a 10-year drought. The last time we had something like this was in 2010. उसके बाद जो 2 साल drought होता है, पाकिस्तान में it happened for 10 years. We lost the capacity to adapt to heavy rains. And suddenly we had storm systems that we've never had before. We've had a cold front that we've never had before. And we are not ready to handle it. And our communities are becoming vulnerable. And communities are made up of all sorts of people, right? So you have to keep that in mind. This is what happens. Okay, beta, I'll just wrap it up. This is what happens when you're not ready, when your soil can't absorb extra water. Oh. It's not working. Oh, it does. Yeah. All right. So, 33 million people. Now, this is where my talk is actually going to happen. 33 million people displaced. Imagine you having to move. Just take things that you can carry in a knapsack, अपने bag में. That's it. If you have pets, आप सिर्फ उनको भी साथ लेके जाएंगे. Are you ready? Do you have emergency kits? How much water can you carry for yourself? How much food can you carry for yourself? These people were forced to vacate. They were forced to just walk out. Pakistan lost infrastructure. It's expensive to build roads. It's expensive to build dams. It's expensive to build bridges. We don't have the money. Floods became super floods last year. Imagine having to face this. This is Salah. Imagine having to stand in your window and see this happening. And there was hardly any warning, not enough to vacate cities. And how do you vacate when your bridges break down? Look at the flow. These bridges are made to withstand a lot of pressure. बड़ा सोच समझ के करते हैं. Engineers are not unintelligent, right? They know what they're doing. But imagine what was happening to have caused this. आप विकेट भी करें, आप विकेट के evacuate भी कराएं लोगों को, तो किधर जाएंगे, कैसे जाएंगे? How will you remove? You're stuck there, right? And these are communities that are lower income communities. We are very privileged because we are very privileged to sit at home and be able to raise funds and collect money and worry about this instead of actually facing a life and death scenario. These are climatically hit areas in Pakistan. More than half. Do we have the capacity to help our communities rebuild? Because all our climate disasters are now going to happen every year. Not 5 years, not 10 years, every year. Marginalized communities. Climate change is intertwined with a global pattern of inequality. Inequality, आप समझते हैं? inequality, disparity in income. Poor countries, rich countries, poor and rich inside countries, groups that are of special minority, religious minority, gender minorities. All of them do not have equal resources, and all of them cannot be held equally. And usually the most poor and the most vulnerable are the ones that face the most challenges. We haven't faced this challenge of the climate crisis this year. आप कह सकते हैं कि हमारे साथ ये हुआ था? Can you imagine this happening to you? Can you imagine a war like that? No. Outlying areas of your Sindh, Balochistan, middle of the night this happened. They just left. So you are creating within your country climate refugees. And we do not as a society have the capacity to help everyone. There are psychological issues, there are agricultural issues, and we're losing so much the capacity to give food. This kid could have been in school with you. He is standing there probably wondering where his family is. That's what he does. That's like he's carrying his sack. तो जहाँ पे जो खाना मिल जाए, हेल्प मिल जाए, इसके अंदर डाल के रखा था. This is survival mode. And this is what I'm talking about. Marginalized communities. Global warming, climate change, has shifted from being an environmental issue to a social issue. Disabled disabled persons in your society. हमारे पास restaurants में ramp नहीं है to help our people up. How are we going to help them evacuate? I just jumped, I'm sorry. This is how they were living. There was not enough space for refugees camp. We could not get them out. Do they look well-to-do to you? Do you understand the connection between people who don't even contribute to the climate crisis? इन्होंने कितने fossil fuels burn कर लेने? And they are the ones who are facing the most challenges. And we have no policies, nothing in place to work on this. हम लोग react करते हैं. जब हो जाता है, उस वक्त हम भाग के करते हैं. कमर टूट जाती है बेटा कर करके. And we do a great job. We do a great job helping. We step out there. My question is, you are young leaders. Eventually you get to O levels, A levels, and college, and you will be the ones making the policies. Yes. You have to keep this in mind when you make the policies. कि आप जब कहते हैं कि हमने climate change tax लगाना है, हमने global warming tax लगाना है, this is drought. आपने जो पहला मैप देखा था वो floods था, calamity hit. This is drought. Once your rains and floods are over, you will go through 10 years of drought. खाना नहीं होगा उगाने के लिए, अभी खाने के लिए उगा नहीं सकेंगे. There won't be enough water. So when you're making your policies, when you are making plans, when you are making strategies, you have to keep vulnerable communities in mind. पहाड़ों में कितनी बर्फ, कितना पानी, and this is what happens. Soil loses moisture because you are cutting down trees. You are cutting down trees as a society because things have gotten from bad to worse. अगर आपने कहना ना कि हमारे क्या हालत है पाकिस्तान में as a country, things go from bad to worse when you start cutting down trees for fuel. किधर जाएंगे आप? What else will you do? So you have to learn to provide enough. Quickly. Livestock. We were talking about livestock farming. Livestock farming destroys soil. I mean, it degrades ecosystems. Yes. Eat less meat. 5 दिन ना आलू गोश्त खाओ, कीमा ना खाओ, एक दिन बना लो. Encourage your family. Talk about it. Have healthy talk. Because the choices that you make in lifestyle, आपकी disposable lifestyle है. You take single-use plastics. This degrades your ecosystems. This takes up water when to produce bottles. Rose McDonald's. This is drought. This is water scarcity. Do you know in 20, we are water stressed right now. We know water scarce. Pakistan is water stressed. In 2040, we will be facing water scarcity at the same level of Cape Town, where we will have a zero water day. That will be community water. Or you have your own water that kind of like churns out. किसी के घर में है, किसी के नहीं है. नीचे पानी नहीं होगा. There will be a zero water day. It will happen in 2040. I won't be there, you'll be there. What are you going to do about it? It's the lifestyle choices that you make. Already this is happening. These are marginalized communities. These are lower income communities. हमारे घरों में फिर आ रहा है. They are the first ones जब पानी खत्म होता है. Because they are totally dependent on the government structure to be able to provide water. And if your wells run dry, we have the capacity कि हमारे पास इतना पैसा है कि हम बोरिंग करा के अपनी मोटर लगा लेंगे. ये क्या करेंगे? Right? So you have to be mindful of why this is. More heat, more global warming causes dengue, fever. And you have so many diseases that are on the move because it's so hot and it's so humid all the time. So, back to the question. Must we change?
Yes.
Huh? Can you answer? We have solutions. Quick solutions. Solar energy. Install one. Encourage your government. Speak out. People listen to you. You are young. You've got control of social media. हमें तो ये भी नहीं चलाना आता बेटा. You've got it. Talk about it. लोग सुनेंगे. Go for wind farming. We have a wind corridor. We have a solar corridor in Pakistan. We can do it. We can set up big solar farms and wind farms. So, can we change? And will we change?
Yes.
Is the question.
Yes.
For that, you need to give up your lifestyle. Are you willing?
Yes.
I'm not saying chuck your PS5 out of the window. I'm saying eat less meat. Grow your own vegetable garden. It's good. आपके पास ground नहीं है तो क्यारियों में लगा ले. Use less disposable things. Plastics के साथ we can't kind of like break our relationship, but we can use less, right? Already we have different protocols, Montreal, Kyoto protocols, Conference of the Parties, COP28 is happening in Dubai this year. Pakistan is contributing. We've got NDCs. Remember this, NDC. Pakistan की government एक document बनाती है called Nationally Determined Contribution. We tell them कि as a country हम electrical vehicles लेके आएंगे, हम दरख्त लगाएंगे carbon offset करने के लिए. As a country we have decided as a matter of policy कि हम organic farming ज़्यादा करेंगे. हम fertilizers, वो हमारी contributions, वो हमारे promises है to the world. This is what we're trying to do to cut down on fossil fuels. Fossil fuel is an addiction, like smoking, like gambling. These are things you talk about, things that you shouldn't do. Fossil fuel usage is an addiction. Think of it like that. Use your voice, like I said. Use your everyday choice. Make a choice. ये ethically और environmentally sourced चीज है कि नहीं है. कोई बात नहीं अगर एक दिन nuggets का meal नहीं खाओगे, कुछ नहीं होगा. I love nuggets का meal every Saturday morning, but I love taking long showers, but it's ridiculous. कितनी देर लगती है साबुन लगा के निकलने को, right? Conserve water. Imagine one day you will have one bucket a day for everything. From there, taking a bath, brushing your teeth, washing your bum, cleaning your clothes, everything. One bucket. Drinking out of that one bucket. Can you do it? Yes, you can. Stop shaking your head. Yes, you can. If you start now, उस वक्त तक बात ही नहीं पहुंचेगी. Think that you have a bucket only and conserve as much water as you can. So you will never have to face that challenge of living out of one bucket of water a day. Fight the climate crisis. Speak truth to power. Sach bolo. Khade ho. Sawal pucho. It will give you power to change. Like your world depends on it. Why? Because your world depends on it. Thank you.